What is going on, all you minties? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an advanced look at some of these trades from Marvel Comics, so please stay tuned. And welcome back, everybody. Now, before I get started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us advanced copies of some of these books. Now, some of them are out, like the Marvel Art of Mark Brooks or The Road to Empyre, but the rest of these come out on October 21st in the direct market, meaning that that's places like your local comic book shop, cheapgraphicnovels.com, in-stock trades, and Tales of Wonder. And then a few weeks later at places like Amazon and Barnes & Noble. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to take a look at the art of Mark Brooks. So here we have the Marvel art of Mark Brooks. I think that's an image from the variant cover of X-Men #1 from last year. And of course, this amazing, awesome, I think this was the very first image that we saw from Hoxpox, or House of X and Powers of X. And then they became variant covers. Love that image. They made it into posters. And of course, I'll be looking at the spine, all of them together later on. But let's take a look at this book. There's some penciled artwork right there. Oh, I love this stuff. Especially when it's not finished. I love sketches. And this is where he first started out, was the Marvel Age Spider-Man. It was like a kid's version of the classic stories. There is an introduction as far as how his work got started at Marvel, and then even some quotes from him. Here's some more of that early stuff. And it's amazing to see how his art evolved, because later on, he does get a little more detailed with his artwork. And I love to see the evolution of an artist. So at first you could tell he was heavily inspired by, of course, anime, because you could tell that he went in with this very small detailed art. He did the first few issues of Cable and Deadpool, which was an amazing series. And it's one of my favorite scenes right there. And then later on he started developing a more detailed style. So here's his work on Araña. Here's his covers right here. I wish he had drawn the internal stuff. But then we got the phenomenal Paco Medina drawing this for New X-Men. This is the childhood end. This is pretty much the story where Colin Yost took over the book, and they were known for writing the X-Men Evolution cartoon. This is something that I wish Marvel would collect in oversized format. This is this is X-Men. Adjectiveless X-Men Volume 1. Annual number 1, rather, sorry. And it has his internal artwork, but it's never been collected in oversized format. As a matter of fact, we have very little Mike Carey collected in oversized format. It was before it was X-Men Legacy. He did some issues of X-Men. Then I think Mark Brooks actually did some covers of like Christos Gage run on X-Men. When Christos Gage took over the book, after Mike Carey left. Whoa. Yeah, that's awesome. What is this from? This is Uncanny X-Men #1 variant. Here is some, man, I've never seen some of this internal stuff. I think this is the Han Solo series. It doesn't really look like his artwork, but that's pretty cool that they kept that in there. Legacy covers. The Defenders. Yeah. His covers, man. See what I mean? If you look and compare to what his artwork looked like towards the beginning of this Marvel's Age stuff, it's a lot more cartoony, whereas this is actually more detailed. And I met him at a convention a couple of times. He's such a nice guy, and he told me about drawing inspiration from people like Mark Silvestri and Alan Davis. And here's the Secret Empire stuff, Avengers No Surrender. And of course, it probably ends with this right here, since I don't want to spoil it. 112 pages. This is a soft cover and retails for $24.99. Let's look at this image one more time. That is so freaking awesome. I do miss his internal work, though. I really miss his sequential artwork. But I realized that covers really draw people to pick up books, and this is freaking awesome. Next up is Road to Empyre. This is a prelude that leads directly into the Empyre crossover event, or the big Marvel event right here. And I will be doing an advanced spotlight on that particular trade paperback here on the channel, so just stay tuned. And here are all the creators behind each of the different pages from the prelude called Incoming. So it all starts with Incoming. By the way, this book has 168 pages and retails for $19.99. You have the story here. It kicks off with Humberto Ramos' artwork, and it goes throughout the, well, I guess, most of the Marvel Universe as we know it. Kicks off with Daredevil and Elektra. They go get Jessica's help from Alias, and then she goes to get Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel gets Black Panther, and so on, before the Avengers and the Fantastic Four are all trying to figure out this mystery of who killed this gentleman right here and why the heroes are involved. By the way, big fan of Night Thrasher. I love that Dwayne is back, so I was so happy to see him. You have artwork in this one-shot from many different creators, and like I mentioned, different writers on each segment. I mean, even Venom gets involved, right? The King in Black, all of this, it's all coming together. And I'll talk more about the event and the story when I do the advanced spotlight of Empyre, the trade paperback. This is just some of the artwork found in here. So this collects Incoming, #1. Of course, I have to censor that final page. And then it also collects Road to Empyre, the Kree Skrull War, and then the Empyre Handbook. And pretty much the purpose of this book right here, this is the Kree Skrull War, Road to Empyre, is a retelling of every time the Kree and the Skrull have fought in the Marvel Universe. And it even mentions the Katati, which play an important part in this crossover. And of course, the purpose of that is to make sure that everybody is familiar again with the characters that are playing a major part in this crossover. Or if you've never read any of these things, then this is a great way to catch up. Now, this all goes back to the Dark Phoenix saga. That's what I love about this stuff. I mean, it goes beyond that. It goes way past that. But the main characters that play a big part in Incoming had something to do with the Phoenix saga. And I'll talk about that, like I said, when I talk about the spotlight of Empyre. Now here's the handbook back here to help you out to get to know some of these characters in case you don't know who Mantis is, or Alicia Masters, or Koi, or Sequoia rather, who plays a big role in this. So it's a really good way to catch up. This book retails for $19.99. And here we have Ironheart, Meant to Fly. Here is Ironheart Riri Williams, which introduces us to the character of Ironheart. And these are the graphic novel size books from Marvel Comics. So as you can tell, it's a little bit smaller than your standard size trade paperback. So this collects Ironheart, the 2018 series, 1 through 12. We've done an old reader, new reader on this, and I fell in love with this character. I wasn't the biggest fan of this book right here, but this sold me on the character. Eve Ewing just came in and knocked it out of the park. And you have wonderful artwork by Luciano Vecchio and Kevin Lebranda. They're the ones that supply all the artwork in here. And oh man, her character is just so awesome. I love everything about this book. I think I gave it a 10 out of 10. It was a book that Maddie suggested reading, Wonder Maddie, and I just really enjoyed it because it was just a new, fresh take. And of course, one of my favorite things is you have ties to the New Warriors because you have Midnight's Fire here. You have all the ties that happen with issue 25 of New Warriors. Oh, it's so good. And then the cute little team-ups that she has. It's a good story, and my daughter's going to read this, my oldest daughter, because she's a fan. She actually enjoyed this book right here, the first Ironheart book. So I can't wait for her to try this one here. This book has 272 pages and retails for $12.99. And here are all of the spines together. Great time to pause the channel. And if you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? We put out videos every day. Moving on to Silver Surfer Black. This is the story by Donny Cates. And this had a Treasury edition that came out, I think it was late last year or early this year. Tradd Moore supplies the artwork. And I first fell in love with Tradd Moore's artwork in the pages of Luther Strode. He went on to draw Venom. And then this thing right here is just so freaking amazing. If you've not read this story, this takes place right after the events of Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1 by Donny Cates. So something happens where all the Guardians are sucked into this. Well, I'll let you find out what this is. And this has ties again into Venom, into Thor, and it feels like Donny Cates is writing his own universe, and it's wonderful and it's amazing. And just check out some of this insane artwork by Tradd Moore. I had to pause for a second. I just hope he keeps getting work at Marvel because his stuff, he needs to be drawing a cosmic title. His stuff is just amazing. I mean, it's not for everybody, I get it, but I'm a huge fan. It's like a mix of like Tim Sale and anime, and throw in some psychedelic art in there. Oh, this looks so good. The way he draws the Watcher. But anyway, I don't want to spoil this for anybody in case you haven't read it. Let's look in the back here for some extras. This book retails for $19.99 and has 120 pages. I can't show all the variants, but here are some of the variants. And then this is a beautiful introduction. I think this was in issue 1, if I'm not mistaken, of the first issue of Silver Surfer Black. And it's about him meeting Stan Lee. Here are some sketches. And his Galactus page, which I showed off in the Treasury Edition, is freaking awesome. Okay, before I close the book, I had to show this again. Look at that! That's freaking badass! And of course, this is Dave Stewart on colors. I forgot to give that man credit, but damn. Next up is something a lot different than the graphic novel Ironheart, and that is The Punisher Presents Barracuda. And I gotta be careful with this one because this is part of the Max line. So this is written by Garth Ennis. It's drawn by Goran Parlov, and I can't even show the very first page. Here we go. But let's just look at some of this artwork really quick. It is violent, it is vulgar, and it is damn funny. And this, by the way, has already been collected in the Punisher Max Omnibus Volume 2. So if you have that, that's already collected in there. But it is the character of Barracuda, right there, that big guy, that has fought the Punisher in the pages of Garth Ennis's Punisher. Duh. Why did I even say that? Anyway, where was I? And in this, he's trying to get revenge. He's trying to go back and get the Punisher. But he needs money to do that. So he takes this guy right here, Hemo, who's a hemophiliac. His name is Oswald. He's this guy, this drug dealer's son. And he wants his son, Oswald, or Hemo, as like Barracuda likes to call him, to take out the rival gang leaders just to show that his family means business. But since Oswald, this little guy again, is a hemophiliac, he can't be touched or he'll bleed to death. So, I don't know. There's a lot of things that happen in this story that just make me laugh. If you've not read this, if you want a taste of what Garth Ennis' Punisher Max line is like, this is it for you. This is the book that you want to get. It is freaking crazy, but I love this stuff. This is hilarious. Oh, that's right. He has the cross-dresser here. That's a badass with a gun. Oh yeah, this whole story is awesome. And the character Barracuda himself is really cool. This book, by the way, has 120 pages and retails for $17.99. Let's look in the back here. Okay. See, even Goran Parlov calls him Hemo. And censoring that final page, but here's some other Barracuda sketches. And I wish they would collect these in oversized format. That's the mini stories like the Platoon or the Soviet. But all 5 issues are collected in here of the Punisher Presents Barracuda Max line. Last, and certainly not least, is the Heroes Reborn Iron Man trade paperback. This thing is thick. It has 504 pages. This one retails for $44.99. They've done a Heroes Reborn Omnibus, but this is the new trade paperback releases that include the crossovers towards the end. So, really quick, here's the Heroes Reborn half issue that introduces the character of Tony Stark, and I'll talk a little bit about it in case you don't know what the Heroes Reborn universe is. So, this collects Iron Man 1 through 12. This is the 1996 series when the character was relaunched over by Image Creator. So, you had Jim Lee, Will Spertasio, Scott Williams, and then Scott Lobdell plotted it. And then it also collects Fantastic Four 12, Captain America 12, Avengers 6 and 12, and then material from Heroes Reborn, half like you saw at the beginning, and Captain America number 6. So you had this drawn by Will Spertasio, re-imaging the character of Tony Stark for a new audience. So if you've never read any Iron Man, this is a retelling, or rather a re-imaging. He's in a completely different universe. This is not canon. It's not set in the Marvel 616 universe. This is set in the Heroes Reborn universe, along with Captain America, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four. So that's what this is. So the Image creators came back, like Rob Liefeld took Captain America and the Avengers, and Jim Lee and Will Spertasio took Iron Man and the Fantastic Four. You have artwork in here, mostly by Will Spertasio. Like I mentioned, Scott Lobdell and Jim Lee kick off the story. Then you have Ryan Benjamin that joins later on. Eventually Ed Benes. Jeff Loeb finishes out the run just like he did with all the other issues of the Heroes Reborn era. So this takes place right after Onslaught. Oh, and it also includes little pages where Iron Man from the Heroes Reborn universe appeared in the 616 universe when he appeared to Jean. So this takes place, like I said, after Onslaught and then before the Heroes Return. So this would be a Volume 2 of Iron Man, and then Volume 3 is the Kurt Busiek and Sean Chen run. And just showing off a little more of the artwork. One of the things that I did notice in this one, though, are some of the scans. I don't know if you can tell, but the scans here on issue 7, they just look rough. They look a little, I don't want to say grainy, but it seems like the color palettes didn't scan well. And it's not the whole issue, but it's most of the issue. And that's the one that I noticed the most. I've noticed it before on Epic collections, like I think it was the Wolverine Epic collection. But I did want to point that out, that it looked like some of the scans on issue 7 were just, they looked a little rough. Let's look here in the back. Oh, I forgot you also have Terry Schumacher here on artwork. And then back to Whilce Portacio. And let's look in the back here for some extras. So I'm sure you're going to ask, why isn't issue 13 collected? And that's because issue 13 shows characters from the Wildstorm universe. So it was a big crossover with all Fantastic Four, Captain America, Avengers, issue 13. And I don't think Marvel's going to collect those because, like I said, copyrights and all those characters were from the Wildstorm universe that crossed over with these characters. But immediately after this, you go to Heroes Return. And that, as they say, is that. And as I mentioned, some of these books are already out. And when the rest come out, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and the page count of these trade paperbacks. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up, which ones you've already picked up, if you're excited for the Empyre Omnibus. And like I mentioned, I'll be doing an advanced spotlight on the Empyre trade paperback. So stay tuned to the channel for that. Please don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button, ring that bell for notifications to let you know when our videos are going live. We can be found on Redbubble and on Patreon. We have different tiers on our Patreon with different reward systems, so if you want to check that out, all of that is in the description down below. And more importantly, please everybody stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.